All right.
Hello, Marty.
Hey, guys.
Welcome, everyone. And welcome, Marty.
Oh, man, I am stoked to be here. All
Good.
the way from Australia.
All the way.
Yes. We
Just for
flew him
this.
in.
And then you made me wait for 5 months. But finally, I've been invited on.
Put him on the Gulf Stream.
Yep,
we
yep,
told
yep,
him we
yep.
needed him, but it just wasn't the right time. So just hang out in America for a few months until.
Well, I am happy to be here, and it was hopefully worth the wait.
Oh, good. No, I think you're going to like it. It's pretty
Yeah.
fun. I'm actually curious to see if we get a lot more Australian listeners and stuff, but we'll
So
see.
you have to be laid back and relatable to the Australian audience.
I know. We should pander to them.
It's just
G'day,
pander.
mate.
G'day, mate.
Ooh, that was something I was going to think about earlier. I want to go through Australian words.
Okay, because I just learned about one while you were talking to
Oh.
the wine guy. We went and picked up some Australian wine from the liquor store down the street, and Marty brought up a bottle of rosé, and he was like, "Oh, you know what we call this in Australia?" I said, "What?" He said, "Bitch diesel."
Which sounds offensive, but
Stop.
I love rosé, so I'm effectively someone who loves bitch diesel and therefore maybe a bitch diesel fan. But it's because it's like one of those trashy drinks that you kind of drink when you're like, woo.
You think it's trashy?
Oh, absolutely. But I love it.
So rosé is very not trashy. In New York, all the bros love it. We call it brosé.
Rosé.
Oh.
And there's fancy rosé bars all over New York, but it's like Pinkies Up Hamptons.
It's very it's kind of summery spring drink back
Yeah.
home. But yes, it just leaves nasty hangovers and leaves
Yeah.
some people, including myself, to act terribly whilst on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. I'm imagining some girl in a bright pink bikini, wrestling.
Kind
an
of think
alligator.
like a day at the races.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like-
But see, that to me is fancy.
I mean, come to Melbourne during the Melbourne Cup and I will show you a different side of racing. It is,
Yeah.
carrying the heels by the end of the day, ties undone,
But you still get to wear a
jackets
hat,
ripped.
though, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess the hat stays on. That's
The
about
fascinator.
it. Yeah, whatever.
That's more English.
Is
Yeah.
our race culture different? It sounds different because it's nice.
I think Melbourne Cup is to Australia what the Kentucky Derby is to
Okay.
you guys.
But
But
Kentucky
I don't know
Derby's
if the Kentucky-
fancy.
Well, yeah, so is the Melbourne Cup, technically. They have models and they invite all these celebrities
Yeah.
from around the world, but at the end of the day, everyone walks out with no shoes and equally as hungover the next
I
day.
want shirts that say bitch,
Bitch
diesel. We should just start our winery, which we've talked about.
Well, we were talking we just heard of a rosé event happening, and it was La 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 Rosé.
No, rosé la la la.
Oh, rosé La La La. And that sounds nice. It sounds kind of cute, but could you imagine, yeah, here's my event. Come to it next week. It's called Bitch Diesel.
It sounds like a music festival.
No, yeah.
But Australians have always been able to get away with. You guys are very harsh in words,
Yeah.
but get away with
we
it.
can get away with using the C word and it seeming cute, but you guys
Yeah.
say it and everyone's like,
No,
Yeah.
you.
and I've learned that the hard way a few times. Here.
Oh, really? Have you?
Oh, yeah, just you say it casually and people are just like,
Everyone
Yeah, people
flinches.
shudder.
Yeah.
Everyone
Mhm.
flinches.
It's almost a term of endearment back home.
Yeah,
It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't say it.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
yeah.
This is the wrong continent.
Yeah, most of our listeners are American. My mother would be like, maybe you could have just.
Just said the C word. Actually, I have a very a memory when we talk about this. Is my mom I was a kid and someone said it on TV. I think we were watching a British movie or something, and she was like, "That is one word, Nick, that you will never say. You will just never say. You won't joke about it. We're just not saying that word ever." And I was like, "Okay."
Can we say the F word?
Yeah.
So my first swear word was fuck.
Okay.
And it was when I was 2.5, 3 years old. Mum tells a story. I was in the back of the car and she pulled up to get petrol or gas.
Yeah.
We call it petrol back home. She pulls in to get petrol and I'm in the back seat and I go, I'm not fucking petrol again. And I've obviously picked it up from her.
Yeah.
And she just froze.
She didn't like that.
Did you know that our mother counts how many times she's mentioned each episode? Isn't that the most
No
her
way.
thing? She goes, I just want to let you know, I was mentioned 3 times last episode.
I'm more concerned that she's heard some of the content you guys talk about on here.
I know.
Sorry, Mum.
Sometimes I say, maybe just don't listen to that episode.
There was one we had to be like, please don't listen to that one. But
Did she?
No, she didn't. But she was on an episode. My parents were. It was actually hilarious. Okay. And my dad made a gay joke the moment it started, like as I was pressing record. And it kind of went over their heads, but like I got it. We also like, it starts with all of us just like laughing super hard. And Mom's like, what? I was like, Dad, I don't think he's ever made a gay joke to me, ever. I think that was the first time. You know,
I feel like that's like a barrier.
No,
like,
it's good. It's
good.
good.
Oh, like a good, not an offensive one.
No, not at all.
Good.
No, like
I was like, hey, why are we all laughing about this? This is not okay. This is very folk.
No, he's not homophobic at all. But
I follow your mom on Instagram. She's lovely.
She has a good Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a little political
and
sometimes.
every time I post photos of you guys, she's like, oh.
She will get upset when certain people haven't like requested to follow her yet.
Yeah, she acts like she doesn't care, but she does. You know, she said something about you. She was like, sometimes he looks a bit crazy. And I was like, I said, what do you mean? And she was like, I don't know, it's his eyes. And I was like, because he has blue eyes? And she was like, yeah, but they're like really blue. And I was like, yeah, but it's like good. And she was like, no, I know. I just feel like I don't trust people with blue eyes sometimes. I was like, Mom, I have blue eyes. I was like,
yeah, you're the only one in the family.
Yeah. And some people do feel like that. Some people are weirded out by blue eyes.
I have a story. My first cuss word was the P word.
Like
P.
No.
It's 5 letters and ends in a Y.
Okay.
Penis? E?
Penisy.
Penis Y.
No. Pussy. And I thought it was like a little wussy, like a little kitty cat. So I was calling you and our other brother Max, and I was like, I thought it was like you're like a little scaredy cat. I was like, oh, they're just being. I'll just say it. I was like, you're just being pussies, and my mom was like, Francesca, we do not use that word. I was like, well, they're being pussies.
But it is. I thought it was used for that, right?
Yeah, maybe if I was like in a biker gang,
yeah,
you know.
But I thought it came from. I mean, I guess like it is like kitty cat. Like, but in my head, I'm like, oh, they're being little wusses.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, and I was like, well, then tell me what it means. Why can't I use it? And she was like, how about you just listen to me and don't use it? And I was like, well, you have to tell me why.
Well,
and
that's the problem. Once a kid knows they're onto something,
then
I was like, and once you put the thought in their head. That's why when I said not fucking petrol again, my mum didn't say anything. She didn't tell me off because she knew I knew it was like controversial and I'd get attention for it. So she just shut up.
Smart.
I was trying to like rebrand.
And then I turned around and I was like, shut up, bitch diesel. And that was before rosé even became cool.
Mommy's drinking her bitch diesel again.
Fuck, not again. Oh, man.
What else?
I love you, Mum. Sorry, that was... As he puts his wine glass
down. One of my funniest ones of yours is a stubby holder.
Oh yeah,
stubby.
What do you guys call them again? I find it stupid.
A koozie.
A koozie.
Koozie. See, no, stubby cooler. Because we call cans of beer back home stubbies. Do you call that?
It's a beer can.
Yeah. So it's just in a cooler.
Yeah.
It's quite literal.
You're like, look, it holds it, it cools it. A stubby holder.
Yeah. Another word or term that I always have to like correct myself on when I say here because no one seems to get it is like rocked up. Like I rocked up to the party late.
Oh.
I'm rocking up at midnight.
Rocked up.
But it means arrive. But everyone's like, you
rock.
I'm like, I'm coming at midnight.
I'm coming. I'll rock up.
I'll rock up. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I'm going to adopt that one.
And fortnight. Every time I say fortnight, like I get paid every fortnight. They're like, what?
Okay, people.
And surname instead of last name.
Surname and last name. I know that you guys use that differently, but if someone doesn't know what, like Americans should know what a fortnight is. I know we don't. It's not in our like.
No, they
speech.
do. I think it's just like you have to default to like 2 weeks. It's like.
Do you guys use military time there? Or regular time? Like
the 24-hour clock? Like
we have both options.
Yeah.
Most people, we have the option, but people always like comment.
Like 12 hour.
Yeah. Okay, same with you.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not that smart back home.
Everyone always comments on it because and my phone uses 24-hour clock. And people are like, wow. And I'm like, you just -2. Drop the 1.
-2 and drop the 1.
I like it when you're scheduling a Zoom call though, and it says like 24-hour time. Then in brackets next to it, the normal time.
The normal time, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
But then you don't mess up. You guys, this is a life hack. It's impossible to mess up your AM and PM alarms. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I was actually just watching a TikTok about how number or math system is based off of 10, like it's a base 10, but it should actually be base 12. And they gave up like all these a million reasons, like because it makes more sense because you can 5 or 10 isn't really divisible by a lot, but 12 is. And then it makes sense with circles. It makes sense with pi. It makes sense with time. It's all like base 12. And we really should just like, but the reason why we have base 10 is because they think we have 10 fingers. And they think that that's why math started that way.
And 10 toes.
And 10 toes.
If you're lucky.
You're talking to the wrong person about math. In my final 2 years of school, I found a loophole to make sure I didn't have to do a math subject. Also, I'm saying math, not maths. We'd say maths back home.
Maths?
Yeah, with an S.
That kind of makes sense, though.
And because in my final year of school, you always had to do like a math or science subject. You had to do that in your second to last year and your last year. And I found a loophole to not have to do that.
Fuck yeah.
I knew I would fail it. My science was psychology, which doesn't involve numbers.
I had a science course I skipped a lot of math classes somehow, and I had a science course my senior year of college, and we were like working with models. And like,
as you do.
Sorry, no, like
math. My brain goes.
No,
were they hot?
Were they hot?
Go on.
No, like mathematical models, and I didn't really understand it, and so I needed to be like tutored because I was like, I'm just not understanding like this like math, and they're like, oh well, you're gonna do it like this, and then when you get to this part, it's just basic calculus, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, duh.
Like I know algebra.
Oh yeah.
I don't know basic calculus. I never took it.
And then iPhones came along. It didn't really matter.
Yeah. Because now they can do calculus, you know?
I guess.
Yeah.
iPhones were probably already out when you were in school.
You're not that much older. How old are you again?
They came out when I was like in university.
iPhones?
Yeah, I never had the luxury of like
I got a phone
texting and playing games in class.
When I got a phone when I was 13.
Like a smartphone?
Yeah, but no, I got a flip phone.
But
mine took pictures.
And remember when your like phone ran out of credit and you couldn't reply until your parents like took you back to the the pharmacy or wherever you get your.
We had like a family plan, so and it would re-up, but it would show who used the most data and the most text, and I would get in trouble because I used far and beyond more
like twice
than
as
the
much.
rest of the family. No. I just recently got my own phone plan, and my dad and Nick and Max, like the whole family. We're like, wow, we actually have data now because Francesca's not using it all.
It would seriously be like 5 gig more than all of us. And we're like, but how? How?
Well, always been like that.
I know. Yeah. But now I have unlimited, so I just freely download apps and just don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird that you have to pay for like data, you know? Isn't it like?
I think it's crazy we all have unlimited now.
I think that's a brand new. Like that's exciting. I remember when it used to be like $30 a month for 500 megabytes, and you'd be like, okay.
You would only get a certain number of text messages.
Yeah, that's right.
10 cents a message.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another
and the real innovation came along when you could iMessage, and it cut all of that out.
Yeah,
like, screw you, telcos.
Yeah,
you call them telcos here?
A what?
Oh,
I didn't know
telephone company.
Telcos?
That's what we call like Verizon.
Telco?
Telcos.
No, we just call
Australians shorten everything, by the way.
I know, I love that.
McDonald's. You guys call McDonald's Mickey D's. I don't know where that nickname comes from. We just call it Macca's.
Macca's.
But like Sunnies.
You know, I was
Sunnies.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
Everything is shortened back home.
Admin. So if you're doing, is that like a thing?
Admin.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't. I mean, we say it, but they just say like, "Oh, I had to do a lot of admin today."
Yeah, well, like life admin.
Admin. Yeah.
And then aircon. I've never heard one Australian person say air conditioning.
Oh yeah, no, it's always aircon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't.
I think Americans shorten things less than Australians, but like the English really don't shorten things.
No.
And then one time
they invented the language. They're probably loyal to
I
it.
know, right? I was with all these Scottish people at a music festival, and I was just like talking to them while I was eating French fries, and they had like such thick Scottish accents. And they were like, "Oh, what are your plans for tomorrow?" And I was just being like kind of goofy. And I was like, "Oh, well, I think I'm going to get day drunk." And they literally died laughing, like wheezing over each other. And I'm like, "What?" They go, "Day drunk?" They'd never heard the term. They go, "Wow, that's such an American term. Like you have a word for that and it's day drunk." They were like, "Oh my." They thought
day drunk. What else would it be?
They'd never heard of it. And they thought it was they thought I invented the term day drunk.
Have you heard of a darty?
Of course, a darty.
A day party.
Day party.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Darty. It's kind of a high school term.
Home.
Yeah.
I'm keeping bitch diesel. Like,
We're incorporating that.
I know. I don't care if I offend people.
No, we were talking about things we want to put on merch because that's coming out soon. And bitch diesel's happening.
Bitch diesel.
I'm so excited.
Let's re-up on bitch diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up there's a whole like alternative name or list of alternative names for rosé, which along those lines.
Really? It's we have frosé, brose, and that's it. Ooh, the frosé is coming back in my winery this week.
Brosé sounds funny. I'd steal that because I love rosé.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like.
Look,
LA.
I can't find this list. I'll have to put it in the comment section.
We'll put it in the show notes. We're gonna start doing show notes.
I know. Yeah.
Episode 25.
Well,
here we go.
Marty,
sounds like a performance.
Yeah,
oh my God, this camera's hit.
Yep.
This is performance art.
Is this the time where you two get up and start dancing?
No one wants to see it.
No, I've kind of flirted with the idea of like doing like TikTok dances, but
then you
just for publicity.
Cool.
Oh,
and then no,
right?
it's like. I mean, it's
please don't cancel me TikTok. It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
They would. It's like, wow, another millennial that just clings to his Instagram and just thinks that, TikTok isn't taking over the world, but whatever.
We're trying to get.
I can't. Just too much content.
We're trying to get accepted. Like, that's my homework for this week is to just sit on TikTok and not Instagram because I need to learn. It's a whole culture in itself.
Yeah.
And I got to learn it.
It's actually like a language. It's like you kind of like there's all these things that, and then the way that people get around like censorship words,
Ooh, tell us some.
Yeah.
Unalive.
Yeah, because you can't say like dead,
You
dying.
can't say suicide.
What?
Because it's like against community guidelines.
So like he unalived himself.
What if you were like, this is dead cool?
You might get you might get your entire account banned for it.
I would never say that. Just,
this is dead cool.
Is that an Australian thing?
No, it's not anything.
Do we say anything that you think is just so fucking lame?
Probably. I'm just trying to
when
Americans say awesome a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I say awesome. Super.
Oh, no, what's the fire? Where
fire.
Everything's fire. And
fire.
It's like why does everything have to be hot? Like, remember when lit was a thing?
Lit.
And now everything's fire.
I said lit last episode.
That's burnt. That's charcoal. What's going to be next?
That's soot.
Dirty.
That's a forest fire.
Hey, too close to home.
Yes. Yeah, same. My country's not burning this summer for once, so that's nice. It's flooding though.
Yeah, because everything burnt down, and you don't have the plants like soak it up, right?
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's yeah.
Didn't all those Australian fires? Didn't they find out that someone lit them intentionally?
No.
Is that a rumor?
No, that was a rumor.
Okay, thank God,
which
because
annoyingly took off. No, it was just so hot and dry, and it hadn't rained for such a long time. But I read a study where apparently like 1 billion native animals died in those fires.
1 billion.
Koalas, kangaroos, lizards,
wallabies.
if you like those.
I like all of them.
Yeah, even lizards.
Yeah.
I like lizards.
My favorite animal, Australian animal, is the spotted quoll. It's kind of like
spotted quoll.
Kind of like a quoll.
What's
Quoll? I don't know. Google it if you.
Wait, now that we're doing like full YouTube videos, you guys, we have 3 camera angles.
Oh, we can
now?
just have like a squall.
It can like come up a quall.
I love it.
A quall.
And
can, like,
they're
zoom
slowly
out
coming
someone.
back from extinction, which is great. Good for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about it?
I mean,
is it a bird?
I think
Is
it's
it a mammal?
marsupial.
Okay.
Oh no, is it a mammal? What's the difference between a marsupial and a mammal? You know,
Marsupials are mammals, but marsupials always have a pouch.
Talk amongst yourselves while I quickly Google.
Well, I need some more wine.
Google.
You do that. Okay, Francesca,
Can you
you're just going to
talk
have to
about the
carry
wine?
the team. Oh, I can talk about the wine. It's from McLaren Vale in the beautiful South Australia, state of South Australia, where I am originally from.
You know who this is.
So McLaren Vale is like Francesca's.
Yeah, please, no, go.
Okay, is this the moment of the podcast where we go into ads?
Yeah.
Good.
But
okay, here we go. Advertisement time. So, McLaren Vale, where this wine is. Oh, we just finished it. It's a lovely wine region. Just outside of Adelaide. It's a city down the bottom of Australia, kind of near Melbourne. And they just do beautiful wines. It's kind of Adelaide or like South Australia, my home state, and kind of the lower part of the country has a similar climate to California.
Oh.
So a lot of the wines we produce there are quite similar. But there's just, and the landscape's quite similar. It's kind of, if you go in summer, You know how if you go to California, like Napa Valley, it's kind of like all dry. The grass around is all like yellowy, but then you see these really bright green vineyards and these rolling hills. It's like that. So I love going around the Napa Valley because it kind of reminds me of home.
Oh, wow.
But and the wine there is really good. Australian wine got a really terrible reputation because of yellowtail. Everyone thinks it's $8 and cheap and nasty.
Yeah.
But no, there's some beautiful wine back home. And I was very excited to find some bottles of it in Frisco.
In Frisco,
Colorado.
Well, the man who ran the store, he was like, "Oh, I've been keeping up with he like owns the building, John Davis. We just met him, and he was like, yeah, like I'm pretty much retired. I just stock the wine store, and he had a lot of organic stuff. This is organic. And then Marty's dad does wine country tours.
Yeah. So Adelaide has quite a number of nice wine regions around it. The Barossa Valley, which is probably the most famous, McLaren Vale, Clare Valley. And actually, he gets a lot of American tourists. He just drives Americans around wine regions and they think it's great.
Can your dad take us around?
Absolutely. He would love to.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I often send friends to him when they go to Adelaide and I'm not there. I'm like, meet up with my dad.
Yeah, perfect.
I've just Googled the spotted quoll. Firstly, look how cute it is.
Oh.
The tiger quoll.
Tiger quoll.
Read it.
Okay. The tiger quoll, also known as the spotted tail quoll, the spotted quoll, the spotted tail dossier.
Dossier? No, Dicesaurus.
The names don't matter.
Okay.
Is it a marsupial or mammal? It must be a marsupial. Maybe it's both.
It's not giving me marsupial vibes. No, I'm serious. Marsupial's like
Let's delve deeper into the spotted quoll.
Is the tiger quoll...
This is necessary, you guys. We're going to do... It is the cutest animal I've ever seen.
We will get there.
Oh, we don't even learn about it.
The thing that I got really obsessed with when I got here?
A snow ferret?
No, it wasn't. But it's like...
Not a ferret. It was a
weasel.
It was a type of
snow weasel.
It was a
but it had a proper name, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I forget because it was the cutest thing ever.
It's a carnivorous marsupial.
Oh.
It eats lizards and stuff, probably.
So it's like a badger. He's a badass.
Yeah. Rodents are really rough. They're rough and tough,
Yeah.
Did you know dachshunds, which is what za is mostly, they were bred to be like ratters. Like they would go down the holes and like kill, I don't know, rats and stuff.
Rats?
I don't know if it was for rat. They were called a ratter, but they that's why like they burrow. So she like gets under the covers and like sleeps next to my feet. It's because they literally
Isn't that why sausage dogs do that too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dachshund.
Yeah, dachshund.
So Dachshund, how that looks like it's spelled. It's pronounced
German.
It's pronounced Dachshund.
Dachshund.
Yeah.
Dachshund.
Every time you've been saying Dachshund, I thought you were talking about a different breed.
No. It's Dachshund, but Dachshund.
Wiener dog.
Let's just go with wiener dog.
Sausage dog.
Sausage is universally acceptable.
I've never heard of it. Sausage dog.
Me either. Never.
Wiener dog.
They look like a sausage.
Yeah.
They're a dog.
And they kind of...
Oh man, we are learning a lot today.
Yeah, but they
welcome to Australia Talks, where we learn things about animals.
Can I look up what dachshunds were bred for? Because this is a dog podcast.
This is a dog podcast now. Do you guys know that the Saucy Sibz started as a wine podcast and then it turned into living out of a car podcast?
Sibz.
The sauce Sibz.
Oh, that's a term. If you're on the sauce back home, you're on alcohol.
Yeah. If you're sauced, it's like you're blackout.
Here?
But saucy could also, it's like a type of like clever sassiness.
Yeah.
Saucy. So we say that like we're saucy in every way, like literally every way.
So they were bred to kill badgers, you guys. That's why dachshunds are such little assholes. So they would go down a badger. Do you know how mean badgers are?
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard.
And so they were bred to flush out badgers and other burrow-dwelling animals. So like, they really want to burrow in there, and they're kind of mean. Like,
but aren't badgers native?
Yeah.
Oh.
in their little, they can track scents. Oh yeah, so they're.
Shouldn't we leave the badgers and get rid of the dachshunds?
Probably.
Honestly, I'm down for the dachshunds to leave.
So their ears are floppy because they hit the ground while they're smelling to brush up the scent.
Oh.
So they can like find where they're going, and they're short to the ground, so their little noses are right there, and their ears waft up the scent to them.
That's so clever.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Nature,
Science.
man.
Evolution.
And
yeah.
you got to think, like, I want to know so much more about dog breeding. Like, how did they do that?
Should we have an expert on the pod?
Red wine I just had.
What? Dog breeding?
Oh, here's another fun dog fact.
Yeah.
Everyone someone tells me they've got an Aussie Shepherd, they're like, yeah, they're from Australia. I'm like, no, they're not. They're bred in Texas.
Australian Shepherds aren't.
But are they from Australia at all?
No.
At all?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why are they called Australian Shepherds?
I have no idea. And I remember Googling this a while back, and the person, no one's been able to really work it out.
Was it
But
just
I think,
like it just sounds
I mean,
nice?
they're adorable.
Call it a
Claim
fucking
them.
Australian Shepherd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
like
No, they're cute.
we
There's
claim
like
a lot
a
of things
lot.
that aren't actually Australian.
Yeah.
Like Russell Crowe, he's from New Zealand.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, but we say he's from Australia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was Australian.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think Nicole Kidman's out. Let me Google that.
Is she? No, she's Australian.
Well, she's definitely is now.
Yeah. Well, I thought dingoes weren't dogs. I thought they were a type of dog.
Dingoes, I thought they're like a type of wolf.
No, dingoes
they're
are
not
dogs.
a specific breed.
Do they-
kind of?
Do they eat people's babies?
God,
Where's that from? Did a
that-
dingo
It's
eat your
Friends.
baby?
It's from Friends, isn't it?
I mean, Friends probably picked it up, but that was a very controversial story in Australia's history.
Oh, wait. Tell
Please
us more.
tell us.
A woman named Lindsay Chamberlain went camping, and one night her baby disappeared in the Australian desert, and her argument was always that a dingo took it from the tent.
Yeah.
And she always that was her
Yeah.
argument. But the public kind of wildly believed that maybe she had like postnatal depression and she killed it or did something to it. And it went on for years and years and years. But she's kind of iconic in Australia now, and that line, "and dingo ate my baby," is yeah.
Oh, that's where I thought it was like
Yeah.
a.
Yeah. So like it's picked up in pop culture now, but that was
Yeah.
actually
Oh
yeah.
man, no, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But why is she's iconic, like in not a good way? Or
No. I think the public ultimately supported her in the end. It was
Okay.
just it was a very big media.
What if she did kill her
Story.
baby?
Yeah,
That makes it
it's
so much
kind
darker.
of, it looks more and more unlikely that she didn't. And I think courts have ultimately, we might have to cut this bit out because I don't know.
What? It's okay.
I can't actually remember. It's like sometimes it still goes on in the courts. So
Really?
like
Wow.
defamation cases and stuff.
It's
But
like-
I'm actually not up to date with it beyond the dingo ate my baby.
In Australian Casey Anthony.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
But if
sound
we're-
dumb.
But if we're debating or discussing Australian terms, I will pick a bone with shrimp on the barbie.
Okay.
For starters, no one says that.
Shrimp on the barbie.
No one
Yeah.
says that. And also, we don't even call shrimp in Australia shrimp. We
You call them
prawns.
Prawns. I did
So
know
it's
that.
very misleading.
Shrimp on the
Wow.
barbie. So someone was just like making fun of like. I feel like.
Oh, I get it all the time. Oh, shrimp on the barbie.
Well, that's-
like, for
that's-
starters, you sound British. And secondly, we don't call them shrimp.
I
Do
would.
people ask you where you're from all the time?
Yeah. And they only know one of two cities. It's either Sydney or Melbourne. So if I say I'm like born in Adelaide, they're like, oh. They politely nod along.
Yeah.
So I just say Melbourne. And they're like, oh, yeah, Melbourne.
Woo!
Great city. Go visit. Now that
I really want to.
borders are open.
We were going to ask you about that. So the one
No,
really-
I have PTSD.
I know. So we all think like we talk about our quarantine time here and we're like, oh my gosh, like, well, Nick and I never really, we were in the woods.
I was.
So
up in
I
the
don't
mountains,
really have like PTSD
You
from
were having an eat,
quarantine.
pray,
at all.
love moment.
Yeah, we
While
were
I was
traveling.
crying.
I know. But then other people in cities like New York and most places, they're like, oh my God, quarantine weight, quarantine depression, this, that. But you were in Melbourne and
Yeah.
the most lockdown city in the world for
It was. I think China's become really
Well,
aggressive
China's
in the
been-
last few months.
Yeah.
But we basically had what's this? I think it was 270 days of stay-at-home orders, but they're a lot stricter than the ones here. Like you couldn't go 3 miles beyond your own house. You could only go out for an hour a day. The only things open were grocery stores and pharmacies. You couldn't have anyone around at your house, even if you lived alone. There was an 8 p.m. curfew. So, yeah, it went on for quite a long time. You couldn't go to gyms to do any exercise or anything like that. It's quite rough.
Yeah.
So as soon as the borders opened, I was like, screw this, I'm leaving.
Came to
And
America.
Now
and
it's
you've
completely
just
back to normal. So I'm looking forward to going home in a couple of weeks' time
And
and, it
like-
being like, yeah, what pandemic?
been, and well, you couldn't even. Your parents were in the south of Australia in Adelaide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
and it was normal.
Also, that was the other thing. Not only could you not leave your own house, but you couldn't leave Melbourne. There was like a ring of police around like the city limits, so you couldn't leave like the suburban area. And then even if you managed to get out of that, there was no chance of you getting on a flight flying to another state because the state borders were closed to any state that had COVID at the time. So,
do you think anyone has tried to escaped on foot?
Oh, probably. Like, there's so many
there's so many people
unofficial border crossings, but like for the most part, Australia's quite egalitarian. Everyone tried to do the right thing. Yeah. Even though it was brutal.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting 2 years. But now the country's like a massive party.
I bet.
Especially because we opened our borders in December for at least Australians. So we finally let all the Australians that were living overseas back
home.
We kept them out, a lot of them out for like 2 years. We're like, nah, can't come. So in like November, December, they all started coming back. And then early this year, we opened it to international tourists again. And now it's like a bloody
we decided January.
Yeah, come January. I can show you lots of things. Beyond 3 miles.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how we know you, since everyone's like, all right, like this Australian guy, like, but who is he? How do we know you?
Okay. Right. I'll quickly recap how we met.
How did we meet?
We met over a mutual friend in New York who I was in his Instagram stories. You saw, we started chatting. Then I moved to Colorado and you were like, hey, you're in Frisco. Let's go snowboarding. Yeah. Drunk at Vail, which we did. And then we became
buddies.
So you can tell that Marty's also in media because he just concisely said something that takes Nick and I 10 minutes to say.
But just in case,
you're right, Nick.
Just in case you needed a little bit of an editing cut.
So we need these. Like, we need things.
I know we need to be more concise. But it's just kind of like, it's like a hangout podcast. So.
I'm enjoying hanging out.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
As he takes another sip of wine from South Australia. This is beautiful South Australia.
This is another Australian wine. Jim.
I like to call it the Oregon of the Southern Hemisphere.
This one?
Yes.
Or Adelaide?
No, not the bottle of wine. The state of South Australia.
The state of South Australia.
Oregon.
Okay.
We're on to a new...
Yeah. That's what I meant.
So this is Jim, the down underdog.
The down underdog. With valuable viticultural talent and expertise like this, is no wonder that he's important enough to have his own label, Jim, a dog.
Jim.
I know. It's quite you. You love dogs.
Yeah, right?
Someone recently said that, there was like a dog that wasn't cute and they were like, yeah, kind of like Za. And then I heard that Marty defended Za in my absence.
You did. Quickly, too. Like...
I wasn't there.
Yeah, quick response. You're like, no, I think Za's cute. And I was like, and she was like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, where was I recently? I can't remember. We were in a group of people and some guy had a dog and it was this small furry thing. I think it was in New York and I was there the other week. And this dog came up and I was like, oh, he's such a scraggly little dog. And I thought it was a compliment. Mm-hmm. And I walked back to my friends after and they're like, why'd you call that dog scraggly? And I was like, because it is.
Scraggly? Is scraggly not a compliment?
Well, it's scraggly.
I mean,
no.
when you think about it, but like,
no, it's like disheveled.
Yeah, but that's cute.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I would describe Zara as scraggly.
And
that's kind of what I mean.
Beautiful.
No, but like scraggly is definitely not. A compliment.
I think it's a term of endearment. It's just like the way I think the C word is a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Oh, your dog's such a little C word.
If someone called someone,
no, it's all about the delivery. If I was like, oh, your dog's such a cute. Then, that's... But if I was to be like, your dog is such a...
Yeah.
Then you'd be like, oh...
Right.
Mm-hmm. But if you say it with a tone, you can get away with it. Well, they're not here because...
Just not
at all. Just no. Still, okay. People flinch at the word, But scraggly, I mean... So, what about, like, Steph's dog? Is that a scraggly dog?
He's a little scraggly, yeah. Captain. But, yeah, you could say it. It would just have to be in context.
I thought it meant like moppy and like...
Yeah, like moppy, but scraggly... Someone Google scraggly. Could you please?
Okay. I feel like I would never call someone's like baby girl scraggly.
Someone called me scraggly, I would rethink my life choices.
I'm a little scraggly.
Oh, yeah.
With my dreadlocks.
Okay, fine. Ragged, thin, or untidy in form or appearance.
Exactly.
And I don't agree with that.
Definition's wrong.
Merriam-Webster.
Shut up, Oxford.
Sorry, I'm American. We just know words better. No, I'm kidding.
We change them to suit us.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, we call them Nickisms, though. That's a thing that Nick does, is says words that are almost right,
like
but they're wrong.
Right.
Yeah, like I can't even think.
I called a wedding procession a promenade the other day, and
Isn't that a place you walk along the beach?
Yeah. No.
Promenade. No, like you go to your high school prom. It was a promenade.
Is it?
That's where the word prom comes from.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Can we look at
I'm no expert in proms. We don't have them.
Yeah.
Promenade is like something you walk down. A walk taken for pleasure, display, or exercise. A stroll.
Oh.
A place where one takes a walk for leisure.
So proms,
proms could be leisurely.
I wouldn't say that.
No.
I say they're pretty like.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah, it's like pretty like.
It said for display.
For display.
I don't think it has anything to do with the prom.
Really?
I think it's like the promenade is like in front of, I don't know, like Art Hill or something. Or you take a walk down the promenade. It's like a...
Yeah, I thought a promenade was a street.
Yeah.
I mean, we can argue as much as we want with Oxford, but it's there.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there.
I don't think,
Oh, well. This is write our own dictionary. This one's boring.
This one's, I don't like how they use these words. Like this whole book, I just feel like it's changing with like TikTok and everything, you know?
Yeah. So a lot of my friends back home are journalists because I was a journalist back home as well. And one of them's a radio presenter and he often gets people like sending messages into the show being like, you didn't pronounce this word properly. You didn't say this right. And he's like, shut up. Like, I'm not getting things actually wrong. Like,
so Marty, you're an Australian running around the United States traveling in some of the United States' most expensive areas and neighborhoods with no job or income. Could you tell me how it feels to have a trust fund?
Well, I am an Arabian prince.
Arabian prince.
I was hoping this would never come up. No, long story short, I, like many of us in this generation, spent a long time trying to afford a house and save money for a house, and then housing prices skyrocketed. I worked very hard for 10 years, didn't travel at all.
Right.
I went to New Zealand like once or twice, but that's just across the ditch. It's like a 3-hour flight.
Across the ditch.
Across the ditch.
What? That's what we call it. The ditch.
The ditch, yeah.
Yeah, the Tasman. See, that's the ditch. Anyway.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I was like, I spent 10 years like trying to advance my career very aggressively, saving a lot of money to buy a house. And then housing prices just over the pandemic skyrocketed like 25%. And I was like, whoa, I am never affording one of you. So I was like, I don't want to keep sitting here just trying to save money for nothing. So I was like, I'm just going to blow it in the US. So...
Hell yeah.
I mean,
I went way over budget because when Russia decided to invade the Ukraine, the Australian dollar took a bit of a dive.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so my savings don't go as far as I used to. But it's all been worth it. I ski a lot, hang out with you guys a lot.
You are a great snowboarder.
I wasn't when I got here.
The first time we went, I feel like I was probably... a little better than you. Now you're way better than me.
You took a video of me because I asked you to.
Yeah.
Which I considered posting. And I was like, oh, God, that form is terrible.
That form is terrible.
And I actually often go back to that because it was one of my first ski days here. And I was like, and now when I look at videos, I'm like, ooh, way better. Ooh. But yes, so all the money I set aside for a house, I now just blow having a good time.
I love that.
And I just eventually hope that like, something good happens. Like I win the lottery, or as much as I love my parents, I know one day I'll inherit some money. So I'm like, well, that's a bit of a buffer, which is lucky. Then I know not everyone gets to be in that position either. But like, I just hope that, or I'll get some really cool job, or
I hear you.
So I'm just trying to, especially after being locked down, which you talked about before, locked down for 2 years in Melbourne and not being able to do anything fun, like not even being able to leave your house. I also saved a lot of money in that time. But I was like, no, I want to get back to living. Like, the pandemic in Australia was very strict. And for 2 years, a lot of people didn't do anything. So I was like overcompensating for that by blowing the money I saved for a house.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And I feel like I can relate to that because I live in this delusion that I will just be given a $10 million mansion at some point in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't have to save.
Our life plan right now is I'm in the final.
Sugar daddy.
No,
No, that's my life plan.
Yeah, Nick could do that. Well, actually, I saw this meme that was like, "Don't just marry for money. Go where the rich people are and marry for love."
You can fall in love with rich people.
That's actually
it's absurd to think not, but Yeah, if I wasn't like actually in love or into someone, like I'm way too honest and way too like if I am not 100% into something, then I'm just not in at all. It's hard for me to like do anything I don't want to do.
I don't think you could ever marry for money.
No.
I think I could. Like I actually could.
I mean, if there's like a timeline on it, like if you have to be in it for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill him.
I would love if Nick married for money, like for us.
He'll probably be like, Nick, I'll send you to Mykonos, but not your bitch sister.
One of my best mates back in Melbourne, we play this game all the time and we change the metrics of it. It's like, how much could you marry someone for money that you're not into?
Okay.
And they're like, they're 60 years old, but they have $2 million. And he's like, oh, nah. Okay. So they're 75 years old, but they have $500 million. And he's like, ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a
different
game.
This is going to be something I'm going to be pondering at work. Like,
yeah.
Where's the cutoff?
Where?
Line.
Where?
And his point to his credit, which I've always found hilarious, was like, well, if they're 75, they're not that far off.
Yeah, see, so
It's
like
true.
older.
Which sounds terrible. David, you mean person.
It could be another 20 years though. Like you don't know.
You have no idea.
And what if they just don't fucking die and then they're rich and then they get like 7 heart transplants? I'm like, what the fuck? He is 103. And he's always trying to talk to me and like, he just can barely
honestly,
form a sentence.
I would never, I like whatever the price tag. I don't think I'd ever be able to marry for money. It would just be not fun.
Well, right now I'm in the final stages of interviews with producers for a game show. That's our plan.
Game shows.
Yeah, like a major network game show. So we'll see.
Wheel of Fortune.
No, I can't say.
Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
It's Wheel of Fortune.
Wouldn't that be fun?
So I was hanging out.
And plot twist, Francesca is the wheel.
I just
throw her up there.
yeah.
Our friend Sean, we were hanging out and we just sat there and watched Jeopardy till 8 a.m. And he was so good at it. He was way better. And I'm pretty good at trivia, but he was way better than me. And I was like, man, he was getting double Jeopardies that not even the contestants were getting on TV. And I was like,
I only have one question.
Yeah.
What is Jeopardy?
Are you serious right now?
Yes.
You are so serious, aren't you? Wow.
Alex Trebek.
I
Never heard of him?
I mentioned Wheel of Fortune. That's the only one I know.
I figured you would have.
So like Jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy. You've never heard of Jeopardy. The most iconic
Game show
of America.
Oh.
You know, the woman in the dress?
I mean, I've seen American Idol.
No, that's the woman in the dress is
Still going. Don't know
Wheel
why.
of Fortune.
Oh, you're right. You're so right.
Vanna, right?
Yeah.
White?
Yeah.
I think her name's Vanna White.
No, Jeopardy. It's like a sort of trivia game. It's with what is Jeopardy? Wow.
Like Uno?
Like
Go fish?
I feel like I'm talking to someone from Kazakhstan, not Australia.
Kazakhstan.
I mean, it's not that far from home.
Honestly, I feel like people in Kazakhstan might actually know.
That's
they watch
so
a lot of
funny.
American
Fun fact, Kazakhstan looks very much like Colorado. Very big
It
mountains.
does.
Really?
Yeah, very similar landscape.
And then Kyrgyzstan looks like Switzerland. They call it this.
We've had this conversation.
We had this conversation?
We must have this drunk because it's coming back to me now.
Oh, I know a lot of people from the Stan states because I used to live in China.
Oh.
So I like actually have like friends from Kazakhstan.
The what states?
The Stan states, like Uzbekistan, Central Asia. Yeah. Yeah, because there are like Pakistan isn't Central Asian, but and Stan just means land, right?
Is that really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Kazakh. So
we're just saying when we say the
Kazakhstan,
stands, we're saying the land.
the land. Yeah.
Oh, that's misleading. That could be
that's
anywhere.
And you know, Kazakhstan just changed their capital from Astana to Nur Sultan.
Astana's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Keep it there.
No, it's no. They changed the name of the capital. It's still the same.
thank God.
Yeah.
Astana is one of the prettiest capitals.
Oh, it's gorgeous. They have great architecture.
It's like having a capital in the middle of the Rocky Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did they change the name?
It had something to do with like political leadership, I'm pretty sure.
Like Mumbai and Bombay.
Well, no, that was a mistranslation. So like the English called it Bombay, but it was Mumbai.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's just like correcting the rest of the world.
Yeah. So they changed it back to Mumbai. But anyway, now Bombay and Mumbai is so big with like Bollywood that it's kind of hard to change the name of the biggest city. Yeah, it's like, so now even like people from Mumbai will call it Bombay just because but there's a lot of other like New Delhi and Delhi and stuff like that, like weird things like that. I'm not actually sure like the difference between Delhi and New Delhi. I've been to Old Delhi. That exists.
I have a fun story about Mumbai.
Oh, really?
Bombay. I have a mum in Mumbai who saved me, incidentally, from a terrorist attack.
Wait, what?
Yeah, true story. So I was traveling around northern India and I met this young guy, maybe a couple of years older than me, and we became really good friends. And he was like, when you get to Mumbai, stay with my family. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird, but sounds fun.
No, but that's very Indian.
Yeah. And I was traveling with a friend of mine and so we did it and we got to Mumbai. This was 2008 and we'd been traveling all day. So by the time we got there, we were exhausted, but we wanted to take his family out for dinner for like looking after us. And so the mum of the family, Rita, was like, have a nap, have a sleep, and then we can all go out to dinner in the city. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. But me and my friend Mason overslept because we were so exhausted. And Rita was too polite to wake us up. Aww. So we missed this reservation that we had at this this restaurant in downtown Mumbai called Cafe Leopold's. And that night, just after 7 o'clock, it was like shot up in the 2008 Mumbai terrorist attacks, which went on for a few days where they like stormed hotels.
Yeah.
And we were meant to be there, but because we overslept and Rita was like, didn't want to wake us up.
Yeah.
We didn't end up making it. And
wait, that's crazy. Yeah. That's what that movie that Armie Hammer is in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. That's, you always hear
2008.
Stories.
Crazy times.
So, when I was down under in New Zealand, down
under in New Zealand.
Is it totally different?
I think
is down under only Australia?
I take personal offense to you calling New Zealand down under, even though it technically is.
It's just I thought it was all down under.
Well, I guess it's Southern Hemisphere, so yes.
I thought it was Australia. I don't know.
It's
You're
just
the Australian.
Australia.
I mean, I guess actually it's a good. Now I'm thinking about these big philosophical questions. And I'm not criticizing. I love New Zealand. I actually wish I had grown up there because it's full of big mountains and snow and
good agriculture.
Small.
It's too small, but
it's the same population as St. Louis, Missouri.
Is it really? Oh yeah. It's like 5 million.
It's like 4 million.
St. Louis is a little bit smaller, but
a little bit. St. Louis is like 3 million, but I'm like, what?
New Zealand's beautiful. Can I give a plug to New Zealand in this
Go
podcast?
For it.
Oh my god,
my god,
it is a stunning place.
Why
except all the snow falls above the tree line, which is a bit annoying. But other than that, there's no tree skiing. Other than that, beautiful. The mountains are stunning.
They are. Queenstown's the one of the prettiest towns I've ever been in.
Oh my god, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now that its borders are open as of a week ago, I can't wait to go back. Yeah, they were like one of the strictest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
They're free.
I really don't like hating on other places. And I like that you are such a fan of New Zealand because I feel like almost every Australian I've ever talked to is always like, fuck New Zealand. They're so fucking weird. It's kind of like the way
Americans are like, ugh, Canadians.
I love
Australians
Canadians.
are like, ugh, New Zealanders. But like, I would, I feel I was meant to be either Canadian or New Zealander because I love the mountains and the cold and the snow.
I could see
and we have a bit of that back home, but nowhere near as much. I love a beach, but I get bored after like one visit.
We were just talking about how we don't love the beach.
I was like, well,
says two people who live in the middle of the country in the mountains. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. So I met this guy who lives in Florida, and we were like chatting, and honestly, it was a little too soon to be like, oh, well, like you could split half your time in Florida, and I could split half my time in the mountains. But he asked me, and I hadn't thought about it. He goes, would you leave the mountains and move like to the beach? And normally I was like, oh, I could take like mountains or a beach. I was like, no. And I didn't realize that I was like, I'm sorry, like I want to be based in the mountains. Like, I want to travel a lot. Like, so we've decided that's like, I would prefer to spend like most of my time, like 50% of my time other places, but I want to always be based up here. I'm happier. I'm healthier. There's just something about it. And I get like, you walk to the beach and I'm like, what do I do? Just lay down now?
Oh my God. I get bored. Like, I can't relax. I know that's a bit of a problem. But like, I put my towel down on the beach, put my sunscreen on, lay down, put the sunnies on, hat.
Got my stubby.
God, I'm bored.
Exactly. And
now what do I do?
Like hiking, like, you can go for a run on the beach, but after your run's done.
Yeah. I also hate to be wet. So I don't really take a
I don't want being wet, but like.
Nick really hates to be wet. Like if you splash him, he'll be pissed for the whole day.
If you splash me, like if you went for a pool having fun, don't splash me.
It's so. Oh, actually, no. I was talking about this the other day with a friend because we were drinking around a pool, and someone brought their kids. And great, good on you. Like, kids are cool. But they were like bombing into the pool when everyone else was sitting around. I was like, if I had kids, and I could see everyone was relaxing, I probably wouldn't bring my kids
control your
to
children.
the pool. But I always find it so weird, like, because in Australia, everyone has grown up on the coast, like everyone.
Yeah.
So I find it like different in the US that like you've got cities like Denver and St. Louis where people don't like, or even in Texas. I know people from Texas who have been to the beach like once.
Yeah.
Because they live so far inland. And to me, that's so foreign. It's I forget the stat, but it's something like 90% of Australians live within an hour of the coast.
I thought it was like, or like within like 100 miles of the coast or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I was in a school in high school, and we were all like hanging out, and they were like, tell like, first day of school, like meet your partner, like, oh hi, like, and tell them one fact about yourself. This guy goes, and this is in St. Louis, Missouri. He says, my fun fact is I've never seen the ocean. And I was like, you are fucking 17 years old. You've just never seen the ocean.
In that guy's defense, most Australians have never seen snow. I think my sisters still haven't seen snow.
What? Do they just...
Oh no, we went to Tasmania as kids, but that doesn't really count. That's not proper snow. Yeah, but like, I didn't even know, like when I was growing up, I had no idea it snowed in Australia until I was 19. And I saw it on the news and I was like,
in Australia?
Where is that? Yeah.
Because Tasmania or Southern Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it was just so, and that was like pre-social media and stuff. So you'd only ever see it on the news. But yeah, I had no idea that we had ski resorts and stuff. Nothing like here. But.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that because they have them in New Zealand. Why I brought up New Zealand is because
this is crazy.
I was a block away from the Christchurch shooting.
Oh wow!
Like we saw everyone fleeing.
Shit!
And
why were you there?
So I when I quit my job in New York, the first thing I did was I became a manager for a poet, a New Zealand girl who was a poet, and I planned and like executed the craziest thing I've ever done, a speaking tour for her because she wrote a book, and I planned it all throughout New Zealand. So I traveled New Zealand for 2 months and held events in the biggest cities all over.
Wow.
I know. And it's cool because like I would have never done it in America because I would have been too scared.
Yeah.
Like what if it failed there? I was like, I don't ever have to come back to New Zealand. I can fail. It can be horrible, but
we should.
I booked all the, the venues, had lighting people, sound people, recording, goodie bags. We got like most of it all sponsored. We sold tickets and it was a sold out tour. So I was on tour for like 2 months.
Christchurch is incredible. Like that earthquake can you imagine after that earthquake, they had to, and they're still in the process of doing it.
So explain this. There was an earthquake about 7 years before I had gone.
I don't know anything about this.
I think it was 2011. A decade ago. Mm-hmm. But after that, like not too many buildings fell at the time, but a lot of them were structurally damaged. So over the last 10 years, they've basically been demolishing all the ones that can't
have anybody in it.
But so can you imagine the city you grew up in with 80% of its buildings gone? So like imagine Denver downtown, 80% of the buildings you see, they're gone and they have to rebuild.
Oh my God, it's like a 2.0.
And it's a small-ish city. I think it's like 300,000 people, maybe a little bit more. But like, can you just imagine seeing 80% of your city gone, knocked down and rebuilt? It's actually quite like, it's one of my favorite cities in the world because there's so much cool, like you have a chance to completely rebuild a city. Yeah. So there's all these designers and bar owners thinking of all these things you wouldn't usually be able to do that you can now do. It's literally a clean slate. And it's actually, for that reason, it's one of the most fascinating places in the world I've ever been.
Really?
See, that's interesting. And
they've got that church built from cardboard.
Was that why it's called Christchurch?
No, I don't know why it's called that.
I don't know the name either, where the name came from either. But they literally have a church built out of cardboard. It was meant to be a temporary structure after the earthquake, but they've kept it for so long. Oh, wow. But it's such an innovative place.
God, I just want to travel more. That's so fascinating. I love that you guys have both been to New Zealand. I've just never...
It was cool. I will say, first of all, cafe culture. They excel.
Oh, that's what I miss about New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, my gosh.
Good cafe culture.
Come to Melbourne. I will show you everything you need to see.
Well, Melbourne, food and everything, great. But New Zealand is not technically known for their food. But they are very, like, it's all very organic and very, like, local. Like, kids there, it's like you don't it's like they all kind of grew up organic. It is almost like this little paradise. But man, they do cafe culture way better than we do here. When I was there, I called it a Benedict a day. I had a different eggs Benedict at a cafe every single day for 2 months. I got kind of fat.
So like back home, avocado on toast is a really big thing. Mm-hmm. And any cafe you go to will have its own spin on it. Some of them will have feta, some will have pomegranate seeds, some will have different citrus. Like it's a really competitive thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cafes in Australia and New Zealand are very like innovative. And because it's so competitive, they always have to keep changing their menus. So like going out for breakfast in Australia is kind of, you go after the gym or something on a weekend, but it's almost like going to a restaurant. Like the quality is super high.
It is.
But it's also super cheap because if you're more expensive than the other tens of thousands of restaurants in Melbourne, then no one's going to go to you. So like to keep up, you have to have a really exciting menu and keep it affordable. So it's like it's the best meal to go out for, I reckon, in Australia because it's affordable and it's actually quite exciting. Like every cafe is complete. It's basically a restaurant.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing the Benedicts a day,
Benedict a day.
You guys, it was like everywhere. So in America, like it's just like, oh, eggs Benedict. And I'm sure like a fancy, expensive place would have like a twist on it. But yeah, like every like coffee shop and stuff, it would be like instead of the English muffin, it would be like a scalloped potato, or this one's going to be shaved lamb. This one, and
I love that.
They poach eggs way better than we do here.
Oh my God, I miss a Southern Hemisphere poached egg.
It's not even comparable. And they're always like perfectly poached and different with avocado. You get like.
But the one thing I will give America, Mexican food. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and pretty reliably get a very good Mexican dish.
The shittier the place looks, the better I bet the food is.
Yeah. I feel that's the same in any country though.
Well, for sure. But you talk to like Germans. If they don't really travel a lot, and I know a lot of Germans travel, they might not have ever had Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
The Swiss, have they had Mexican food?
Doubtful.
The Chinese,
have a Mexican restaurant in the Swiss Alps?
So I bet I don't know if they'd love.
I don't know.
I don't know if they'd love.
They'd be like, "What the fuck was that? Why are you putting so much cheese?" Okay, but actually, I
thought Mexican food didn't actually have that much cheese, and that was more of a Texan.
No, that's a Tex-Mex thing.
Yeah.
I know, but I was thinking like it's not like you and I were gonna make like I was thinking more of like a Tex-Mex kind of.
Yeah, we were gonna make it traditional.
Yeah, of course.
We grew up in Missouri.
Yeah,
We went to the chain El Maguey.
Give us some T-Ravs.
Yeah. Some T-Ravs.
What's that custard ice cream that tastes like normal ice cream? You all think it tastes really different, but it just tastes like ice cream.
We talked about this yesterday. We went to ice cream in Denver.
We did.
And I literally got upset. I go,
I'm prepared to stage a walkout over this. It tastes like normal ice cream.
It doesn't taste anything like it.
I'm sorry your palate's just not really attuned to it. You know, as such a travel person.
I enjoyed it, but I'm just saying it didn't taste like a different
the way your spoon hits it is different.
You can turn it upside down. It doesn't fall out.
Okay, I'm obviously
no. It's frozen. It's frozen custard. So it has custard is different than ice cream. Honestly, I ate an entire thing of ice cream.
I will give you those really thin pizzas you have.
Thin crust pizza is superior.
But what's the place?
Emos.
Yes.
So he's talking about St. Louis food, you guys, and I guess we've never brought it up.
St. Louis has its own cuisine.
We are known for St. Louis style pizza is like a cracker.
Yeah, that's it. That's
it's a very thin crust. We use our own cheese called Provel. It's a mix between mozzarella and provolone.
Mm-hmm. So it's like really stringy. It's very white.
It's the best cheese.
Like Missouri.
It's very white.
Very white. Actually,
St. Louis isn't very white.
St. Louis isn't very white. St. Louis is actually like pretty black as well. You know, but the rest of Missouri is like, white. Did you ever watch that Barstool sports guy? He went around the world. No, the United States.
Hang on, you haven't finished explaining the pizza.
No, that was the pizza, and then toasted ravs. So it's ravioli that we bread and fry it, and it always has meat in it.
It says toasted, but it's fried. Deep fried.
Toasted rav. What else is? Gooey butter cake.
Gooey butter cake's good. But hang on, let me get back to T-Rav. You dip it in
marinara.
Yes, but it's hot. Yeah, it has to be hot marinara.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And then gooey butter cake is almost like you take a white cake mix, a yellow cake mix. and you mix it up, but not in a way that it rises. So it's just a crust. You do something different. You don't add all the ingredients to it. And then the top is like cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar.
Is it cream cheese?
Uh-huh.
I think so.
I think so. And then the way that, so you take it out, then you add another layer of this kind of like buttered powdered sugar on top. And so it gets like a very glassy crust on top. And that's why it's like this gooey butter.
And then you top it with more powdered sugar.
More powdered sugar, yeah.
A friend of mine in Denver a week ago made gooey butter cookies, which was beautiful.
I bet.
She really talked it down. She's like, they haven't worked. I was like, yes, they have.
Yeah. Yes, they did. But good gooey butter texture is actually kind of hard. I've tried to make it. And that's how I know about the put it in the oven twice thing. And that's why it's hard.
Who would have thought St. Louis, a place of culture?
Yeah.
St. Louis has a lot of culture.
It does for the Midwest. You know.
No, I actually had a great time in St. Louis.
And did you know the first skyscraper is in St. Louis? And if you Google it, you're going to come up to a building.
Is this not a Chicago versus St. Louis thing again?
Thank you.
Oh, God, I'm so sick of this.
If you Google
Chicago won, get over it.
No. If you Google it, you're going to come to a building in Chicago that they say is the first skyscraper. But then if you just do a little bit more research, you're going to go to the Wainwright building in St. Louis, which is a red brick building that was the model to the first skyscraper, which then they built in Chicago.
So was it the first skyscraper or just a model to the first skyscraper?
It's the building that everyone said, okay, let's do this, but twice as big.
Okay, so it wasn't the first skyscraper.
No, it's like that was the first skyscraper. It's the Wainwright building.
Look, I'm not criticizing St. Louis. I love it.
No, I know. I love that like you've like spent time in St. Louis as like, a foreigner and stuff.
I also have family from rural Ohio.
Yeah, I should go find them.
I know what it is.
Super random. You were saying Dave Pertnoy.
Okay, so the guy, why
president of Barstool Sports,
he was going around the country and he was looking at different pizzas.
He does a thing. He tries every pizza.
Yeah, he tries every pizza, and so he tried St. Louis style Emo's pizza.
He talks some shit.
He didn't. No, not about. He talks about shit about pizza, but Emo's. He goes to the St. Louis style pizza. He goes, wow, okay, yeah, that's good. It's not fucking pizza, but no, that's really good because it's just so thin and it's more of like a cracker and it's square cut. Like so people were like
the square beyond compare.
Beyond compare.
Is that what he called it?
No, that's what we call it.
Oh, I like that.
So that's why he was like about it, but he was like, it's just not. It's like
not
literally
pizza.
not
So
pizza.
sticking with the theme of Chicago, like the whole deep pan pizza.
Yeah, that's the casserole.
It's a fucking pie.
It's a pie. Pizza pie.
Don't get me wrong. Lovely. Love eating them, but they're not pizzas.
You eat it with a
They're
fork.
pies.
You serve it with a pie, like a pie scooper,
Right.
and I call it lasagna quiche.
Yeah, lasagna quiche.
It's lasagna quiche.
Fight us, Chicago.
And there's someone from Chicago
no
being
one's
like,
starting. That was lost years ago, decades even.
actually, it was lost in the 1920s for sure.
What?
St. Louis declined in 1890.
You know why?
Didn't.
Train line.
Yep.
That and we separated the taxes.
From the county and the city.
But I think that was in the 80s.
I think that was in the 50s.
Okay. Basically, so the county has all the like big homes and the money. And so now the city doesn't get any of those taxes. So the city is just in decline and has no money to help it.
St. Louis has been a place since the 1700s of divided politics. And that really shows on like the development of the city. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love it.
We love it. It's my favorite place to show people.
Cheers to St. fucking Louis.
Wait, can I tell you a story about St. Louis real quick?
You can.
Oh, sorry.
I know. You guys, I'm not drinking.
Rude.
So I know Francesca is not drinking the Australian
better.
wine. Doesn't like it, apparently. She's drinking kombucha.
No, I'm sober again.
I have... I'm very proud of you of not drinking, It's fun. Anyway, I have a story about St. Louis. There I was at a music festival in England. And I was hanging out with all these dudes. And they were like, you should come back to our village after the festival. And I was like, okay, cool. It was Southern England. And we're walking into this house, And my friend who I knew, I just had met all these other guys at the music festival, but it was a friend that I knew I had met traveling. And so she was like, right as we were walking in, she goes, oh, hey, by the way, don't say anything about Game of Thrones. And I go, what? I walk into the house. The dude's dad, his name, he was Stannis Baratheon from Game of Thrones.
Oh, it was actually the actor.
The actor, right?
Oh
and so
God.
I know. I was kind of like, and I didn't get it when she said it, but then as I like met her dad, I was like, oh, and he's actually like a a pretty like Shakespearean like live theater actor, and that's why he's most known for something that he doesn't think is that artistic. So he just doesn't like to talk about it because everyone's like obsessed with Game of Thrones, right? And this was like in 2018, so Game of Thrones I don't think had even finished at this point, or maybe it did, but maybe not. Yeah. And so Game of Thrones is just like very much like, you know, people are talking about it. And like, here's Stannis Baratheon, one of my favorite characters from the show. And so he starts talking to me. He's like, oh, where are you from? I was like, oh, the United States. He was like, oh, where in the United States? I was like, St. Louis. Do you know it? He goes, yes, I do know about it. Actually, I went once. It's fantastic. The history is just absolutely.
The history is cool.
So interesting. Mm-hmm. He goes, actually, on my bookshelf, I have multiple St. Louis books. I was so interested that I had to buy and learn about it. I know a lot about it. It's an awesome city. I was like,
Stannis.
And he was such like a, like, kind of like such a Southern English gentleman, you know, like very like,
what's the most famous person you've ever met?
I've met LeBron James.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In an airport.
And you've also met Tim McGraw.
No, Garth Brooks.
Oh,
Garth Brooks. And Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga sung me. We've talked about this.
No, you
Lady
just watch
Gaga,
your videos a lot.
Lady Gaga sung me happy birthday on my 18th birthday in St. Louis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did she mean it?
She didn't even know my name, but she just saw me.
Did
like,
she
hey,
get to the bit where she was like, "Happy birthday"?
She was like,
happy.
yeah, literally. She just asked, "Is it your birthday?" She goes, "Is it someone's birthday?" She looks at me, "Is it your birthday?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Is it tonight?" I said, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Is it? Is St. Louis your city?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Is St. Louis your city?" I said, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Okay, St. Louis, let's sing him a happy birthday."
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Francesca,
yeah,
most famous.
Nick, who have I met?
You know, Lord's sister.
No, she's. It's not great.
Like I said,
her sister
the
would
of the blog New Zealand.
She would come over all the time, but they're estranged.
They don't like each other.
Like Lord wouldn't.
Think of something.
Quick, this is funny though, and I don't care. Lord wouldn't fly her home for Christmas. So she missed family Christmas. She was like, yeah, like my sister doesn't speak to me. No, okay. So I don't know if this is my most famous, but I've been on Jennifer Esposito's podcast.
Oh, Jennifer Esposito is famous.
Yeah, she used to be married to Bradley Cooper.
I was about to say who.
Yeah, she's done.
But then you said Bradley
big
Cooper.
stuff.
I was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
going.
they're divorced, and she was on Blue Bloods and does some other stuff.
Oh,
but
True Blood, good show.
No, Blue Bloods.
Yeah, True Blood, good show. I love vampires and Louisiana.
But can I tell you like a weird thing? So her and I are both gluten-free. That's how we connected. And we talked, and I was on her podcast, like talking about it. So she invited me on the podcast. I went to her studio. We did this whole thing. I don't know if I said something like offensive.
Probably did.
You probably got nervous because you get nervous sometimes.
I get nervous and I don't
Maybe
shut
not offensive
up.
or just something like rambly.
Oh,
well, no,
nervous offensive is actually a thing. I don't know what to say. Say something. Damn it.
Well, I don't know because I never listened to it, but she never released the episode. And then
Maybe
she
just weren't very good.
She unfollowed me on Instagram.
Oh, definitely weren't very good.
No, but they were friends. Like you guys
we were friends. We would like meet at Soho House and like hang out. And I didn't ask because I didn't know.
Well, now that like I would ask, should we have her on the podcast? No,
we were like before. I'd be like, of course she would. I don't know if this should be in.
No,
but I don't know. Maybe I should have a conversation with her. But like, I just never kind of reached out because like I felt kind of weird. I didn't want to be like, was it just so bad and you felt like embarrassed telling me?
Yeah.
Look, I don't care if I get cut from this podcast. I won't take any offense to it.
No,
absolutely none.
Yeah, because it's just like maybe it just like wasn't good, which is like fine.
If anything, off the back of this story, maybe it's a good thing to be cut from this podcast,
right?
So Jennifer,
amazing.
Do you have any nudes of Bradley Cooper?
I'm in the deep end.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a fun, famous story. Unless you love Australian politicians.
I couldn't name one.
But my best mate reckons he's met Oprah. And we love giving him shit about this. He was on the steps of the Sydney Opera House when Oprah did this tour of Australia. And he was there working as a journalist. He had a cameraman. Oprah came past him because she was coming past the entire group. And he reckons, according to his version of events, he asked her like 3 questions. They had some really good banter. And then Oprah moved on. And then he turned to the cameraman and was like, "Did you get that?" And he's like, "Oh, it wasn't recording." And so to this day, Dave loves to tell the story of how he met Oprah. And we're like, no, you fucking didn't. There's no proof. There's no proof. He didn't meet her.
Hey, Pixar didn't happen is the old internet,
adage.
The old internet saying, you know.
Pixar didn't happen.
Pixar didn't happen. Well,
I want that on a t-shirt too.
Pixar didn't happen.
We should just make a t-shirt company.
That's what we're doing.
No, we're literally making
merch.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah. Nick said that one got disapproved by my creative director.
Who? What?
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. We have to agree on everything with this. But
that's fair.
I will say that we have the same taste in
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. Like, it's not like we have like creative like arguments, really. What'd you say?
You both love salt lamps.
We love salt lamps, candles, wallpaper,
mountain themed things.
Gay Lewis and Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Will Cotton. Ask us to paint us a picture of Gay Lewis and Clark.
Do it.
Yeah, no, there's this artist in
Lucky I brought my easel.
I'm gonna share him. What we want is a giant Will Cotton. I told
you green screen and then you can change it whenever you want.
Live in Tokyo.
Live in Tokyo.
That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot of people
I just could not look at a neon green screen all the time. It could
you don't have to.
You would need to pull it.
Well, you have to. The fans don't have to. The fans think you're wherever you want to be.
I know, but if I have like neon green in my apartment, I'm going to freak out.
In that,
We're coming to you from St. Louis.
I love
Could you not be more original than that?
Well, you know, us St. Louis people love St. Louis.
I love St. Louis, and I'm not even from there.
All right.
You heard it here first. All right, well, Marty, thanks for coming on.
All the
thanks
way
for
from
hanging
Australia.
out.
All the way.
Canada of the South. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've literally nagged you for like 5 months to be on this podcast.
Here we are.
And it's my final week, and I got a pity invite.
It was not a pity. It was not. It was not a pity invite.
No, we were very like.
Yeah, no way.
You two are the worst for time organization / management, and so am I. So I'm glad we got there in the end.
Nick would like to say I'm just bad.
And like since I've been like working with you, it's brought me down. as far as like time management,
me down.
Like how?
Just you don't leave on time if we're going to the same place.
Oh, I thought you meant like in life, like us working on the podcast together.
No,
down. Oh, like us trying to get somewhere.
Say I'll be at your house at 2 p.m. Francesca's coming. Make it 2:30.
Oh, well,
that's not me.
It's at least a 17-hour flight. I'll see you there in Melbourne in what?
January. Let's
Southern Hemisphere summer. We'll do it.
Yeah,
Southern Hemisphere summer.
Because we finally can.
Let's go have some bitch diesel.
Oh my God, bitch diesel in Southern Hemisphere summer.
I can't wait.
We've waited so long, literally 2 years.
What do you call your father?
Dad.
Oh, you don't have any like Diddy. I don't know. I just know there's some Australian word for dad.
No, his name's Jerry, but I call him Dad.
Okay.
Which sounds wild.
And it's like this is my Diddy jib.
And you know, I also have a mum called Chris, short for Christine.
Oh, nice.
But I call him Mum.
You say mom or mum?
Mum with a U. For underwear.
So mum.
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 Mom, but with a U.
I'm hearing an O.
Oh my God. Well, right. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Guys. I hope you learned some Australian words.
I mean, I've learned nothing today.
I feel like
I just showed up.
And got a little drunk.
I didn't.
You got that.
No, she's right. She's right.
I mean,
but that's what we always do here.
Saucy Sibz.
We are the Saucy Sibz.
Saucy Sibz plus friend.
We just get lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce.
All right. Well,
cheers,
bye,
guys.
Bye.
Bye.